Are you playing the tables much here at Monte?
No, I'm afraid that sort of thing ceased to amuse me years ago.
The world may have been at war, but these men ensured that not all was doom and danger.
You hear what he said?
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 decade-defining actors of the 1940s.
Wait, my friend, there's a million dames in this world, and they all look like her.
For our series on the top 10 decade-defining male actors per period, we've made our choices based on a combination of their commercial success, their box office scores, their productivity, their awards, and how they helped set the tone and raise the standard in Hollywood for the era.
Thank you.
Number 10. Alan Ladd.
You know, until I hired you as my double, I didn't know how good-looking I was.
Ladd's was a determined breakthrough into acting that saw him take a flurry of early cameo appearances, including as a newspaper reporter in Citizen Kane.
Or Rosebud? How about it, Jerry?
But This Gun for Hire was his debut as a featured star.
Here's the funniest angle of it all.
He had an unsmiling coldness about his bad guy with a conscience persona, which proved popular with wartime audiences.
Get out! Get out! Keep your dirty hands off me. You and your cat.
Go on, beat it.
Thanks to his work in westerns, as well as noir films, often alongside Veronica Lake, Ladd is credited as a revolutionary who turned the villain into a charming, attractive, tempting figure, like those we see in gangster movies today.
I'm not going. You get out of here.
Sure with you.
Taylor, stop him.
Oh!
Number 9. Gary Cooper.
And they're using your country as a proving ground for their new war machinery, their tanks and dive bombers and stuff like that.
Coop, as he was known in Hollywood, had roles in over 100 movies during his career, including a breakthrough supporting part in Wings, the first ever recipient of the Best Picture Oscar. He famously rejected the part of Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, but still achieved fame in the following decade with his stone-faced and modest style.
I reckon I ain't found no roots what'll hold me up when I'm hell-bent to fall.
Varying between comedy, drama, crime, and westerns, Cooper won an Oscar for Sergeant York during the decade and eventually paired up with Ingrid Bergman in an adaptation of For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Did I do it wrong?
Number 8. Robert Mitchum.
You know, Don Darrow, it'd give me a great deal of personal pleasure to break every bone in your body. Goofing off down there was one thing. Up here it's another. Now get out of here before I kick the... Wait!
A tough upbringing led to a steely on-screen character for Mitchum, who achieved much of his fame within the film noir genre. However, it was an early non-noir, 1945's The Story of G.I. Joe, that yielded his first and only Oscar nomination.
Well, it's your funeral.
That kicked off a career full of Western anti-heroes and soldiers. But it was in noirs like Crossfire and Out of the Past where he truly shined.
Monty's a liar. What makes you believe his story?
It just happens to be the only story I've got.
He became known as the tough yet sensitive male who must resist his femme fatale, a forerunner of the film noir victim.
Who says?
They?
Never heard of him.
Number 7. Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
The gentleman buys 10 ties.
How can he sell ties that cheap?
We ain't got no overhead. We haven't even got a license to sell these ties.
At 7, we have 2.
Hey, cabby, step on it. We're trying to get away from a cop.
Oh, yeah?
These actors are impossible to separate, seeing as they formed the most prolific double act of their time.
Put that down. Put it. Well,
It's a put-up job. It's a frame-up. I never saw this stuff before in all my life.
They found fame and saved Universal Pictures from bankruptcy in the process by starring in World War II flicks, Buck Privates, and In the Navy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Their success was built around Abbott playing the straight man and Costello playing the Joker, a combination that enabled them to become one of the highest-grossing acts throughout the Second World War.
Are you the spirits of the two traitors?
Number 6. Peter Lorre.
You sit down, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, sir.
Peter Lorre's early career spread across the 1930s, when, due to his Austrian birth, he was continually typecast as the menacing foreigner figure next to actors like Sidney Greenstreet and Humphrey Bogart.
See, Mr. Spade, I'm trying to recover ornament that, shall we say, has been mislaid.
However, his roles in The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca earned him greater respect within Hollywood circles, and he emerged as a leading wartime entertainer with films such as Background to Danger and Three Strangers.
Why to Three Strangers?
Well, that's perhaps because in the Orient, the three is the symbol of the life principle, like with us, the seven.
Indeed.
How did you know that?
Oh, I've managed to collect here and there some useless bits of information.
Post-World War II, his career took a downturn, but Lorre's legacy had already been written.
You despise me, don't you? Well, if I gave you any thought, I probably would.
Number 5. Henry Fonda.
Either we gotta tie him up and throw him in the truck, or something, he can't stay here.
When Fonda roomed with James Stewart in the 1930s, little did their landlords realize the acting royalty that slept in their beds.
Where's the best place to get work around here? Don't matter what kind, either.
Fonda's own career kick-started with a role as Tom Joad in an adaptation of The Grapes of Wrath, which earned him an Oscar nomination and a 7-year contract with 20th Century Fox. He then starred opposite Barbara Stanwyck in The Oxbow Incident and with Joan Crawford in Daisy Kenyon.
Don't ever expect one person to replace another one, Peter. You might be disappointed.
Sure you were talking about me?
All during a decade in which he also saw Second World War action in the Navy.
Wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there. Wherever there's a cop beating up a guy, I'll be there.
Number 4. Laurence Olivier.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew.
An Englishman of such worth, he was eventually granted the title Lord Olivier. This actor is considered among the greatest of the 20th century.
You didn't go into the cottage, did you?
Yes, the door.
Well, don't go there again, you hear?
Well, why not?
Because I hate the place, and if you had my memories, you wouldn't go there or talk about it or even think about it.
Roles in Rebecca and Wuthering Heights, as well as a complicated relationship with actress Vivien Leigh, meant that Olivier entered the decade as megastar material.
In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger.
2 parts of his acclaimed Shakespeare trilogy were also released in the 40s, allowing Olivier to combine his classical background with his silver screen stardom. He was professional, prolific, and all but cinema perfection.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part withal. Except my life.
Number 3. Orson Welles.
I can hear you very well if you speak in a normal tone of voice.
Receiving our bronze medal is a man who's more than an actor. He's a pioneering director, theater figure, and radio broadcaster.
Is that correct?
Don't believe everything you hear on the radio. Read the Inquirer.
He reduced a nation to apocalyptic paranoia with his radio adaptation of The War of the Worlds.
Took me 2 solid years in the best boys' school in the world to learn that trick. The fellow who taught it to me is now the president of Venezuela.
That earned him Hollywood's attention and allowed him to write, direct, and star in his best-remembered contribution to cinema and a film that's widely regarded as one of the greatest ever made, 1941's Citizen Kane.
Rosebud.
On the screen, his direction and narration of 1942's The Magnificent Ambersons gained further critical acclaim.
Too slow for us nowadays, because the faster we're carried, the less time we have to spare.
Number 2. Humphrey Bogart.
Shut this door and lock it behind me and don't open it till the police come.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he's Captain Jacoby, master of the La Paloma. You're a good man, sister.
Again, this guy is more than an actor. He's an icon. Born on the last Christmas day of the 19th century, Bogart's life was a romance from the beginning. He scored a contract with Warner Brothers at the start of his career and struggled to break past the company's leading males, James Cagney and Edward G. Robinson. But films like High Sierra, The Maltese Falcon, and Casablanca changed all that.
If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
2 years after that romantic hit, he met his 4th and final wife, Lauren Bacall.
Go ahead and scratch.
And and the pair became Hollywood's darlings.
I play horses, I play the wheel.
Playing something else, too.
What makes
Never
you
mind
think...
talking. Let me do it.
Before we unveil our pick for decade-defining actor of the 1940s, here are a few honorable mentions.
Oh, that's all right. I shan't be too late. You send your card in quick and get the money. See you Sunday.
Every man for himself.
Oh, time to go home now. Good night.
Number 1, James Stewart.
I can promise you one thing. I'll do nothing to disgrace the office of the United States Senate.
Bogart and Wells were influential, but Jimmy Stewart stole the show. In a decade when he also dedicated time to World War II military service, Stewart's roles as the average aspiring American resonated with and gave encouragement to just about everyone.
Dost thou have a washroom? Thank thee.
His natural style won him an Oscar for The Philadelphia Story, having been previously nominated for Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. However, he found everlasting fame as George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, a captivating performance in a Christmas classic. His was the highest standard during one of Hollywood's highest points.
This is where Cinderella gets off. Now you hurry back to the ball before you turn into a pumpkin and 6 white mice. Goodbye.
Do you agree with our list? Which 1940s actor do you think is the most iconic?
Kick the... Wait! Tell him you're gonna dig latrines for every man in this company from here to Rome.
For more classic top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.